Hey everyone, welcome back to reviewing. I just wanted to make a quick video on Tiff 2021, even though it was last year. I just wanted to make this video. I haven't been able to do that in the past year. I've been away doing school, and yeah, it was a really changing year, a lot of growth. But I just wanted to quickly review and go over the movies I saw at Tiff 2021. This past year, I will be going again. I've already got a regular tickets package, but it's going to go back to the normal one. So let me quickly review how my 2021 pandemic affected one went. I also did see one movie at 2020 TIFF, which was Nomadland. I saw that digitally. I really liked it, and I wanted to keep up the streak of watching the Best Picture winner at TIFF, and I thought I was going to maybe do that. And then Power of the Dog fucking lost. Anyways, I got to see Dear Evan Hansen opening night. Now, these tickets normally cost a lot of money, but luckily I actually won a little contest. As being a TIFF member, I got access to this contest, and I talked about how I was recently out of high school and how high school is tough, and they were like, a high schooler who says it was tough? They should go see Dear Evan Hansen.
All you gotta do is just believe you can be who you wanna be. Sincerely me.
And so I went with my mom because she was interested in the movie. And yeah, it was pretty enjoyable. I liked this movie, at least the first time. The second time I saw it with people at college, and it was a lot worse on the rewatch. But that experience and just being able to be there at basically one of the first screenings in the world for this movie was really cool. Getting to see all the cast was great, and just being there with my mom was special.
It's a terrible ending.
Caitlin Dever gives one of the more underrated performances of the year. Ben Platt's not as bad as everyone says, and there are some filmmaking things going on there. So yeah, not bad at all. Second movie I saw was on a Sunday with my friend Tyler, and we watched Power of the Dog that afternoon. This is my most anticipated at the festival, most likely, and it did not fail to impress me. The cinematography and technical aspects, music was all great. The acting was amazing, and the drama was pretty enjoyable. I think I will appreciate this a lot more on a rewatch, because I just think all of those things just work so much better when you're working with a twist and the knowledge of what goes on in this movie. And yeah, it was a really good movie. I recommend you guys see it on Netflix if you haven't. I'm looking forward to watching it again. Next, I saw Last Night in Soho that very same night again with Tyler, and this movie was also really good. I enjoyed it a lot more than a lot of other people. This was probably my favorite coming out of the festival. Still one of my favorite movies of 2021. I think Thomas Mackenzie is just excellent in this movie. I don't know. It just felt like cinema to be able to be there when Edgar Wright, was actually introducing and talking about his own movie. I'll be giving it another watch for sure. I still haven't. And for me, it was just a beautiful, haunting, thrilling Me Too, time travel, horror, drama, murder, mystery, mental health, commentate. And I think that was the more important thing for me, was how it comments on mental health and how violence, specifically sexual violence, can affect that. I haven't been so frightened of a scene since The Martian when I was 10 and I thought I'd die on Mars alone. I really think it's a good insight, at least, because sometimes I think, as much as it's maybe a simple thing to think about how the 60s and a lot of different social structures were a lot worse. And it's not to say things are necessarily better, but some parts of it were quite bad. And knowing how far we come, yet in the first act, we also see how far we haven't got. So it just adjusts to the time period and notes how actual change is hard. And I think the mental health struggles of being a post-secondary student, finding a new place and living on your own for the first time, where, especially for me at that time, as I was about to move away for the first time, were things I really, impacted me. The Me Too aspects and the women's rights in some ways, of course, despite the fact that someone's Sandy, that character is not ethical. She was put in a spot that kind of drove her mad. And I think it maybe shows the extreme of how women might have to react in a world where they are constantly oppressed. And sometimes all we focus on is the man who's supposed to be in charge of it all, the one who we think is responsible, when we maybe should be looking to the person who is somewhat the victim and making sure they're okay. That's something I think Edgar was trying to communicate with the script along with Christy Wilson Carnes. Again, I think Thomas Mackenzie is just excellent. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is good. She can really sing. The cinematography could have been more grand, but Edgar Wright and Cho Hoon really took the grips of the streets and pubs and buildings of Soho with lighting that syncs to music. Some just really, I love the lighting. It's really creative. It's not the most beautiful thing to look at, but I think it fits the film really well. Michael Ajao, people roasted him a lot. He was fine. He was a charming and grounded character. And while it was honestly maybe my least favorite soundtrack from Edgar, I still think it was amazing. The songs are ones I've listened to time and time again. I don't think they always fit the scenes, but they were amazing. The score was probably the most standout for any Edgar film, and I just loved all that. Thomas Mackenzie's, again, just great. I can't say that enough. I think she's just one of the best actresses working today. And yeah, this was a movie I really enjoyed. I talked too much about it. Tyler did like this more. He also didn't know that Phil was gay. Anyways, let's talk about the other movies I saw. I first saw The Worst Person in the World, which was one of my favorite movies I got to see at Tiff. And my review was, I don't understand how Joaquin Trier pulled off the Best Mannequin Challenge of 2021, but this was a really good movie. Next, I watched Flea, and again, this was, a lot of stories told in one pretty simple documentary about a country, a love, the survival, about family, about coming out, about love, about immigration, education, and assimilation, just told so effectively. Just a really great movie that, explores a man who's just, embracing so many facets of life and how that's impacted him. The other documentary I got to see was The Rescue, which went on to be snubbed at the Oscars. I think Jimmy Chin and Elizabeth Chai, I cannot pronounce her last name at all, show again their thirst for daring, real expeditions, except unlike Free Solo, these men became daring for a reason, much more emotional knowing the actual lives are at stake instead of some ego/self-fulfillment as in Free Solo. But the people we follow are very similar to Alex from Free Solo. These cave divers have learned how to keep fear out of their systems because naturally swimming around the dark for hundreds of meters with limited oxygen and rocks around you that you can slam your head on is very scary. And then combine that with a situation where thousands of people are trying to help free these boys and there's so much pressure on them, and a man dies in the process. You could potentially face legal proceedings if something goes wrong, like they literally plan to smuggle them out if something went wrong. And then you have to do this whole process. Again, these men do a sport like Alex, which is so weird, and their personalities are weird enough that they can put aside their fear, get the job done because they have their basic humanity and will to, swim them. And personally, I can barely swim above ground for 100 meters, and these men swim for hundreds of meters underwater, so they are insane. And it's amazing that these boys kept their morale and strength. And obviously, I think their stories also deserve to be told. Doesn't look like that will really be happening in 13 Lives, the Ron Howard movie based on this event. But this is a great movie. Easy contender for TIFF Doc, which it did win. And then it's an easy competitor for Best Documentary I wrote. And it has a better soundtrack than Free Solo. Unfortunately, this was not a competitor for documentary. I also saw Petite Maman. This was one of the first things I saw at the festival, I think after Worst Person in the World. My first comment was, is that how they make hot chocolate in France? Also, this was just before I left. Yeah, and this was a really nice comfort movie, a really nice vibe, a fun story, very wholesome movie. It has colors that just really remind you of fall. Reminds me of myself, just playing in a small forest and stuff in my area. Makes you wonder how your parents were like as a child and if you would like them at all. Next, we got Aloners, which was a movie I literally saw on the way to Power the Dog. I watched 90% of it on my phone. I have to admit, the schedule did not work out for me because I was trying to watch everything I could.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone.
before I left midway through the festival. It was an impressive debut that knows too much about the habits of people who are generally lonely, aka myself, and dying under a pile of porno mags will not be a thing that happens to me, though. I hope I'm not speaking too soon.
Get real.
Next, I watched Lonesome, which honestly did not make a lot of sense, but I don't remember too much about this movie, if I'm being completely honest, but it's an interesting movie. It's well shot, it's unexpected, and the soundtrack's pretty good. I also watched Night Raiders again on my phone because there was a free screening to it. It's great to see a genre movie in a new lens from some indigenous people, but it really does nothing but elevate some of his contemporary genre pieces, and it's very much just a simple metaphor for what happened to indigenous people. And while it's a story that needs to be told, I don't think this is the effective way to be able to tell that story, and I should probably shut up because I am not an indigenous voice at all, critiquing an indigenous voice, but also just because of the genre, the budget clearly held it back. But, you know, you love to see Toronto in an actual film at Toronto Film Festival. Then my least favorite film, honestly, was Compartment Number 6. Now, this got a lot of praise, and critical praise in general, but this was easily the most disappointing festival for me. I don't know, it just felt very weak. I'm surprised more people weren't mad at the fact that she seemed like a lesbian. There was no hints to her having, you know, het attraction. Then all of a sudden she's just bisexual. Yeah, you know, seeing that it won an award from Cannes, this was pretty disappointing. And the male character was just really unlikable, and it was an impressive attempt at taking an asshole and trying to, you know, make him into a likable character with this character. But both of them I didn't find very interesting, and their chemistry overall wasn't that good. And yeah, I just did not like that movie very much. Anyways, yeah. Oh, I forgot. One of my favorite movies of 2021, maybe my favorite at the festival at the moment, The Humans. I just found this was a wholly new way of adapting a stage play to the screen, done by a man who has worked with the stage his whole career, never the screen, but the cinematography and music and sound was all really creative. They worked with some wonderful tech people to create a new vision of how you can film a play. It was just wholly unique. And he got a good performance out of Amy Schumer, which should be, in this time period, and any time period, considered a miracle. And just some of the shots have really stuck with me. And, you know, I love all the actors, except really Amy Schumer. I love Steven Yeun. But this is one of the best directed films I've seen at the festival. A shot of coffee combined with VFX is just, yeah, that's something that's really stuck in my mind. And this is something I really look forward to watching again. And they were clearly not interested in winning Oscars, otherwise the camera would not cut to a feather while there's a character talking. But I think that kind of omniscience of the camera really helps this be a really ominous role in a movie. And yeah, June Squibb has some moments that are just chilling, and it really breaks down just some of the weaknesses of the American family, and its themes on religion were really hit really tough, and its moments about touching on the perspective of LGBTQ people, while not being one that's entirely from, you know, a Christian Catholic perspective, I think was really effective. And the cinematography looks great. The editing is so intentional. Production design just gives that attic such a horror, grotesque place. Again, just kind of breaking down, you know, the normally family apartment into just a ugly thing. And that gets revealed more and more over the film, just how this family's problems does. I thought this could win screenplay. I think it should have won screenplay if it was up to me. But there are just so many powerful moments in this, and I think I only wanted more scenes to hammer home what Karam was going for. And that's the only reason it's not a 10. But I really enjoyed this movie. I would recommend you see it. It really went overlooked, which is really disappointing. It really has a low letterbox score for just how good I think this movie is. But yeah, that was my TIFF experience. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, I will be back with some more content. I'm making a new chicken sandwich review video. That will be out probably, I don't know, but I'm going to be home now. I'm going to be going to university for screenwriting. I'm really looking forward to that. I'll probably be making some reviews. I might make a video on theater movies, because I don't know, I've just been watching more and more of my movies in the theater as much as possible. I've just really enjoyed that experience, so looking forward to talking about that. And yeah, hopefully I'll also have a Terrence Malick review out, because I'm trying to binge the rest of his movies that I haven't seen. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and peace.